All right, so let's get practicing with these special right triangles, right? So I know this says 45, 45, 90 practice, but we would know that this is a 45, 45, 90 triangle also because these legs are the same. They're both going to be x. So remember your apparent 45, 45, 90 where the legs were 1 and the hypotenuse is radical 2. So if we match up the legs and we write them as ratios because these are actually similar, we get these ratios and we can set any of these ratios equal to each other. So we can go 2 square root of 2 over the square root of 2 equals x over 1. Now the square root of 2's are going to divide out. So you cross multiply, x times 1 is x, 2 times 1 is 2, so you find out that x is 2. Right? Just matching up those similar 45, 45, 90 triangles. Okay? So here's the next two. Go ahead and stop the video, come up with y and d, then you can start it back up and see how you did. Okay, so the legs of the parent 45, 45, 90 are 1, so I can put a 1 under these two sides, and the hypotenuse is radical 2. So we can take y over the square root of 2 and set it equal to the square root of 2 over 1. Then we can cross multiply and get y equals the square root of 4. The square root of 4 is simply 2. So y is 2. And then the last one, d, same thing. The legs are going to be over 1. D is going to be over the square root of 2. So we take d square root of 2 and set it equal to 8 over 1. Cross multiply, d is equal to 8 square root of 2. Okay, and it hopefully seems that easy. Number 5 is a 30, 60, 90. And you need to remember that the parent triangle, the short leg is 1, the hypotenuse is 2, and the long leg is radical 3. Radical 3. So we can compare that to our 30, 60, 90 over here, know that they're similar, and write ratios between their corresponding sides. So this is the short side, this is going to be 1. This is the long leg, it's going to be radical 3. So we can take the square root of 3 over 1 and set it equal to x over the square root of 3. Cross multiply and get x equals the square root of 9. The square root of 9, of course, is 3. Okay, so there you go. Your next example looks like this, and something that you need to sort of be able to figure out here is that because these two pieces are 2 and 2, that means this whole side is 4. Which makes this guy right here an equilateral triangle, right? All the sides are the same. Well, in an equilateral triangle, all the angles are 60 degrees. So this is 60, this is 60, and this is 60. But when you drop this altitude to represent the height of the triangle, you do create two right triangles. So the left-hand side is a right triangle that has a 60-degree angle in it, so that means this is going to be 30, and this guy's going to be 30 also. So now you can use those 30, 60, 90 triangles and our proportions and our ratios to find out the height of that triangle. So the hypotenuse, the parent hypotenuse is 2, this is the short leg, and this is going to be the long leg. So you match these up, 2 over 1 is probably going to be the easier ratio to use, h over radical 3. Cross multiply, h ends up being 2 square root of 3. Okay, so hopefully that makes enough sense. And let's go through and let you work some. So stop the video each time, then you can start it back up. I'll walk you through the proportion that I used and see if you're right. All right, so this is a 45, 45, 90 because those legs are congruent. So the legs are over 1, the hypotenuse is over radical 2. 2 over 1 equals x over radical 2. Cross multiply, and x ends up being 2 square root of 2. Okay? All right. Stop the video here, and then start it back up to check your work. Okay, this is over 1. This is over radical 3. This is over 2. Right? So we can take x over 1 equals 6 radical 3 over radical 3. The radical 3's divide out, leaving a 1, so x equals 6 when you cross multiply. Y over 2 equals 6 radical 3 over radical 3. The radical 3's divide out, so we get y equals 12. And there you go. Okay, stop the video and try this example. Start it back up and check your work. Okay, so the leg is over 1, the hypotenuse is over radical 2. Set those equal to each other. Cross multiply, so we get p square root of 2 equals 17. And then when you divide by square root of 2, be careful here. You can't leave that radical in the denominator, so you've got to rationalize it. And so p ends up being 17 radical 2 over the square root of 4. And of course, the square root of 4 is 2. So you could just leave it as 17 radical 2 over 2. Okay, stop the video. Try this one, start it back up, and check your work. Okay, so the hypotenuse is over 2. The short leg is over 1. And the long leg is over radical 3. Now, let's just go ahead and find both of these. Why not? Right? So, we go x over 1 equals 10 over 2. You are welcome to reduce that into 5 over 1, and then cross multiply and find out that x is 5. There's no problem with doing that. And then the long leg, y radical 3, y over radical 3 equals 10 over 2. Again, reduce it to 5 over 1. Cross multiply, and y ends up being 5 square root of 3. Definitely a pattern to this, so if you pick up the pattern, feel free to use it. But until then, these proportions hopefully make enough sense as well. Okay, homework sitting out in Canvas. Get it knocked out by next time.